phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
Being the number one player in your position coming out of high school is not an easy thing at all to do. It takes a lot of hard work and determination to even make it that far and to be known as the best of the best. Not only that, the amount of expectations you get when you get to your school, just to be that guy, to be the future piece of that team, to help bring a national championship, is a lot of pressure. Well guys, B. Kelly back again with another banger video. Today, I will be talking about what happened to the past 10 number one running backs in the nation from 2011 to 2020. In the 2011 recruiting class, the number one running back in the nation according to 24/7 Sports composite rankings was Isaiah Crowell, who was also a 5-star recruit and the number 6 player in the nation. Now Crowell had offers from almost everywhere in the country, but he decided to stay close to home and committed to the University of Georgia. In Isaiah's true freshman season at Georgia, he had a lot of playing time just as a true freshman in the 2011 college football season. In 12 games, he rushed for 850 yards and had 5 touchdowns on the ground. He had a very big season, and the future looked very bright for Isaiah at Georgia. However, Isaiah's career at Georgia would not last very long. The 2011 college football season would be the only season he would play for the Bulldogs, as he was dismissed in the summer of 2012 from the team due to his arrest and his constant disciplinary problems, including a failed drug test. After getting dismissed from Georgia, he would then take his talents to Alabama State, where he would be a starting running back for 2 seasons. Isaiah Crowell at Alabama State was very efficient and very productive. In his first season there in 2012, he rushed for 843 yards and had 15 touchdowns. In his final season at Alabama State in the 2013 college football season, he rushed for 1,121 yards, averaging an impressive 6 yards per carry and 15 touchdowns on the ground. After his 3rd year of school, he would declare his name for the 2014 NFL Draft. Despite being projected to be a 4th-round pick, Isaiah would end up going undrafted and sign with the Browns as an undrafted free agent. Isaiah Crowell would spend 4 seasons in Cleveland. In his last 2 seasons, he was the starting running back full-time, but in the 4 seasons he was there in Cleveland, he rushed for 3,118 yards, had 21 touchdowns, and averaged 4.3 yards per carry. After 4 seasons within the Browns organization, Crowell would then be with the Jets for 1 season, where he started in 6 of the 13 games he played in. He rushed for 685 yards and had 6 touchdowns on the ground. But after that season, he would sign with the Oakland Raiders, but unfortunately never made it past training camp due to a torn Achilles and has never played an NFL down since. Coming out of the 2012 recruiting class, the number one running back in the nation was Jonathan Gray out of Aledo, Texas. Now, Jonathan Gray, according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, was the number 6 overall recruit in the nation and held a variety of offers from some of the top schools in the nation, but decided to stay close to home and attend the University of Texas. Jonathan Gray, coming into Texas, was expected to be one of the best, if not the best, running back when he was done at Texas. But that was far from the truth for Jonathan Gray, as he really never met the expectations that were upon him at Texas. He did have a couple injury issues while at Texas, but in 4 seasons while he was there, he only rushed for 2,610 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 17 touchdowns. He did have some NFL interests, but he never did get picked up by a team due to always getting injured. Coming out of the 2013 recruiting class, the number one running back in the nation, according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, was Thomas Tyner, who was the 20th overall recruit in the nation and was committed to the University of Oregon. In Thomas Tyner's first 2 seasons at Oregon, he was looking pretty promising, as in those 2 seasons he had 1,284 total rushing yards, averaging 5.6 yards per carry and 14 total touchdowns. But right before the 2015 season, Thomas would end up getting injured and missing the 2015 and 2016 seasons. After that, he would end up transferring to rival school Oregon State. In his only season at Oregon State, Thomas Tyner rushed for 297 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns in 10 games. This would be the last team that Thomas Tyner would play for in his college football career and his football career. Coming out of the 2014 recruiting class, the number 1 player in the nation was actually the number 1 running back in the nation as well, and that was none other than Leonard Fournette, and he was committed to LSU. When Leonard Fournette got to LSU, he hit the ground, and he hit the ground running. This guy made an immediate impact and honestly is probably one of their best running backs in their school history, if not the best. In 3 seasons he spent while at LSU, he rushed for 3,830 yards, averaging an insane 6 yards per carry and a total of 40 touchdowns. And keep in mind, in his junior season, his final year at LSU, he got hurt and did not play the rest of the season after he got hurt, only appearing in 7 games. This was good enough for him to be the 4th overall selection in the 2017 NFL Draft by Jacksonville. Leonard Fournette would spend 3 seasons in Jacksonville, where in his rookie season, he had a breakout year, rushing for 1,040 yards and 9 touchdowns. In 2018, he was injury-riddled and only appeared in 8 games. In 2019, he struggled to find the end zone, only scoring 3 times while rushing for 1,152 yards. But going into the 2020 NFL season, he was released by Jacksonville. For the 2020 season, Leonard Fournette would end up getting picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he was primarily a backup this season, sharing carries with Ronald Jones. Now, in this season, he did struggle to get going, but in the playoffs when it mattered most, he showed up and he played his best football all season and is now a Super Bowl champion. Coming out of the 2015 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the nation was none other than Damien Harris, who was committed to the University of Alabama. Now, according to 24/7 Sports, Damien Harris was the number 31 recruit in the nation. Damien Harris at Alabama was a very consistent running back for the Crimson Tide. He was a main back for them from his sophomore to senior year, despite in his senior year splitting carries with Josh Jacobs that would end up being a first-round draft pick for the Oakland Raiders. But in his 4 seasons at Alabama, Damien Harris rushed for 3,070 yards, averaging 6.4 yards per carry, and 23 total touchdowns. Damien Harris would end up getting drafted by the New England Patriots in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. In his rookie season in 2019, he only had 4 rushing attempts for 12 yards in 2 games. But in the 2020 campaign, he started in 10 games and appeared in 10 games and rushed for 691 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and averaged 5 yards per carry. Coming out of the 2016 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the nation was Miles Sanders, who was committed to Penn State University, and he was also, according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, the number 21 recruit coming out of high school. Miles Sanders at Penn State, he would be there for 3 seasons. His first 2 seasons there, he would be a backup running back, but in his final season, in the 2018 college football season, he would finally be a starting running back, where in that season he rushed for 1,274 yards, averaging 5.8 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns on the ground. After a very good junior season at Penn State, he would then declare for the 2019 NFL Draft, where he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2nd round. Miles Sanders with the Philadelphia Eagles has been very promising, and he's been the main back most of the time. In the 2 seasons he spent with the Eagles so far, he has rushed for 1,685 yards with 9 touchdowns, averaging almost 5 yards per carry, and in the air, he has had 706 receiving yards, averaging 9 yards per reception and 3 touchdowns. Coming out of the 2017 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the nation was Najee Harris, that was committed to the University of Alabama, and not only that, he was also the number 2 player in the nation as well. Najee Harris has had an amazing career so far at Alabama, even though he did not become the main back at Alabama until his junior season in 2019. But in the 4 seasons he spent at Alabama, he has rushed for 3,843 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry, and 46 touchdowns, not to mention the 11 receiving touchdowns he has throughout his career. Going into the 2021 NFL Draft, Najee Harris is seen as one of the top backs going into that draft, and he's projected to be a late 1st rounder or early 2nd round pick. Coming out of the 2018 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the nation was Zamir White, who was committed to the University of Georgia. And according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, he was a top 10 player as well, ranked as the number 9 player in the nation. Zamir White has had a pretty good career at Georgia so far. In his true freshman season, he did redshirt, but in 2019 as a backup running back to DeAndre Swift, he did rush for 408 yards, averaging 5 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. In 2020 for Georgia, he's the starting running back, and in 10 games he rushed for 779 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns on the ground. Coming out of the 2019 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the nation was Trey Sanders, committed to the University of Alabama. And according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, Trey Sanders was the number 6 recruit in the nation as well. Trey Sanders, in his true freshman season at Alabama, redshirted in the 2020 college football season. He only appeared in 4 games, while rushing for 134 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 0 touchdowns. Right now, he is currently competing for the starting job for the 2021 college football season. The final player I will be talking about today, from the 2020 recruiting class, the number 1 running back in that class was Bijan Robinson, who was committed to the University of Texas. Bijan Robinson, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, ranked as the number 15th recruit in the nation. In Bijan Robinson's true freshman season at Texas in the 2020 college football season, he went off. And he wasn't even the main running back for what I would say about half of the season. His stats include 703 rushing yards, 8.2 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns on the ground, not to mention the 2 he had through the air. Bijan Robinson is expected to have a breakout season in the 2021 college football season and is expected to be one of the best running backs in all of college football next year and possibly a dark horse for the Heisman Trophy. Well guys, if you guys have made it this far in the video, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly out.